Hi everyone, it's Graham again and welcome back to my channel. So today I am here with my June reading wrap up. I read 3 books in June, I DNF'd one and I'm carrying one over into July. I haven't had the greatest reading months. I have returned to work. I'm in a different role now, a role that comes with far more responsibilities, and finding the time and the energy to pick up the books that I was reading, I found it really difficult in June. Hopefully I will manage to hit my stride again in July, but yes, without much further ado, let's get into the books that I read. So, the first book I read in June was The Rose That Grew From Concrete by Tupac Shakur. This is a collection of poetry and it discusses love, it discusses growing up in the mean streets of where Tupac Shakur was brought up in America, and it talks about the circles that he moved in and the difficulties of life and his career and all that kind of thing. This was absolutely incredible. My only gripe being that some of the writing was in like text speak, so things like the word you, as in you, was spelt with the letter U. The words 2 and 4 were the numbers 2 or 4 were used. So that was my only gripe. I really enjoyed this, but I would have preferred if it hadn't had that. But I suppose it was written by him in notebooks, and that was the format that he chose, that he wrote in. So obviously that was the format that it was reprinted. So every page has a handwritten notebook entry with the poem, and then on the opposite page it has a typed up version. I didn't read any of these ones. I looked at these and enjoyed them for sort of the artwork that some of them had, but I read the typed version because I just found it easier. This was really well written apart from the text speak, which was my only gripe, like I said, but I really thoroughly enjoyed this. If you haven't read this and you would like some sort of poetry with a bit of a difference, this would be the collection that I would recommend. It was very good, and I probably will dive into this again in the future. So yeah. So the next book that I read was for Christie Fest, which is organised by Lil from Lil's Vintage World and Julie, the Hungry Bookworm. And June's pick was The Body in the Library by Agatha Christie. I had never read this one before. It is a Miss Marple. A body is found in the library of a big house, and Colonel and Mrs. Bantry are woken up by their one of their maidservants, and the scene where the body is found is really quite funny against a backdrop of absolutely horrifying, obviously, because this body has been found. But it's just the way that Agatha Christie wrote it. It was as if she had had so much fun writing the character of Colonel and Mrs. Bantry. And Dolly Bantry is just an entire mood all to herself. She gets in touch with Miss Marple. Miss Marple comes up to the big house and they look at the body. Miss Marple notices some inconsistencies that don't quite tally, and it goes from there. This was absolutely incredible. Another typical Agatha Christie. Money, deceit, lies, dishonesty, greed, family, dysfunction in families, and it was just so good. And also trying to frame people who necessarily weren't to blame. But yeah, if you haven't read The Body in the Library, please do. It is so good. And indeed, if you haven't seen the adaptation with Joanna Lumley as Dolly Bantry, get on that right away, because like I say, Dolly Bantry is a mood all of her own, and Joanna Lumley embodies that character just so perfectly. But I absolutely loved this. It was just amazing. So the next book that I read, this took me quite a while, obviously because my job, work was just crazy. I took forever because I just didn't have the mental capacity because I was so busy and so stressed out with everything that was going on at work. But I eventually finished it just on the last day of June, and it was The Therapist by B.A. Paris. This tells the story of Alice and Leo, who move into their dream home, and it's in a gated community in a posh suburb of London. They got the house for a really cheap price. It had been on the market for a long time, and we begin to find out that there had been a murder in the house like 2 years before, and that was why they got it at such a knockdown price. Leo, it turns out, knew about the murder but had kept it from Alice because he knew that she wouldn't want to live in the house. That kind of has a knock-on effect for their relationship. And yeah, twists, turns, just absolutely incredible. At one point, she sort of mentally accuses every single person in all the other houses around the circle. And it's just so good. I really need to get to the author's other books because they just sound great. And if they're anything like this, I'm sure they will be. But yeah, I really enjoyed this. So the one that I'm carrying over into July was the June pick for Sykes and Savage Book Club. I am about 60 or 73 pages in, and I just, like I say, work got crazy. It's quite, it's not a difficult read. It's very sort of, what's the word? I'm not even sure. That's how knackered I am, how tired and how befuddled my brain is. But the book is Skoggy Bane. I will continue to read this because what I have read so far I've really enjoyed. This tells the story of a young boy, Shuggie Bain, and his growing up in Glasgow in the 1980s. And his mother Agnes, who is a struggling alcoholic and an addict, basically. But that's basically as far as I've gotten. I know a basic sort of plot outline, but I will carry on with this. It's so good. I've heard so many good things about it, and I have seen Simon and Mel's video where they talk about this. So I do know some of the plot twists, but I will read it because the writing is gorgeous and I was really enjoying it. But yeah, it's a chunker as well. I mean, oh, big book. So the book that I DNF'd, it's the second one that I've DNF'd from the TBR jar that my husband Duncan created for me, and I feel really bad about it. But again, I think it was the fact that just my brain was just mush most of June, and I just decided that it wasn't for me. It was The Liar by Stephen Fry. I got about maybe 40 or 50 pages into this, and I just thought, I can't be doing with this. The writing just, it felt really quite flowery and just not what I fancied. I will return to this, but probably in audiobook form, especially if I can find an edition of it that's read by Stephen Fry. But yeah, for the time being, I do have to lay this aside, and yeah, I'll come back to it at some point soon. But that is the end of my June reading wrap up. I didn't read very many, but I still read. It's still books, still, you know, reading. Hopefully in July I will read more. I will make it my mission to do so when things have settled down a bit more with my work. And yeah, hopefully I can. But yes, thank you so much for watching. Whatever you're doing, I hope you have so much fun doing it. Whatever you're reading, I hope you love it. Stay fabulous, be amazing, be yourself, stay safe, and I'll see you again soon for another video. Bye bye.